And we're live, or as like I like to say, as live as you can be in a pre-recorded show.
Welcome to our LP Texas candidate highlight. I'm Amanda Gibbs. I am the comms director for the Libertarian Party of Texas. My co-host is Nathan Polsky. He does a whole lot of everything in the party. And we have our wonderful candidate here, Kevin Hale. Give him Hale.
Uh,
Thank you very much.
So,
all right, so let's start off. So, Kevin, I've known you for a couple years. I think Amanda's known you for a couple years. But who are you, and what are you running for?
Well, my name's Kevin Hale. I'm a Dallas kid. I grew up in Dallas, Garland, and Mesquite mostly. I'm running for Congress. This is my third time to run. I got involved in politics in 2016 when the Republicans and Democrats nominated Hillary and Trump. So I couldn't vote for either of them. So I started looking for different options. I looked at the Green Party, the Constitution Party, and stumbled upon the Libertarian Party, and I read their platform, and I was like, where have these people been all my life? These are exactly the people I need to be hanging out with. So I started just block walking for Gary Johnson that time, and then I got involved with the party in 2017.
It sounds like the almost identical introduction story that I have. I also got involved because I could not vote for Trump or Hillary, and it's like, what are my other options? So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
at least y'all got to do that. I had my regret moment in 2016 and sat in my car and cried because I voted for Donald Trump, and I was like, I can't do this. And so then I started exploring
There you
other
go.
options.
So
We all have our own path to liberty, so
that's
there we
right.
go.
So you got involved with the party in 2016. Um, what inspired you to run for office? I mean, that's going from, hey, I'm apolitical or I'm not very involved with politics,
Right.
to let's run for Congress.
Right. This happened actually fairly quickly. I in 2017 I was marketing chair of Dallas County, and I worked on the Mark Tippett's campaign, and we got to like 13,000 houses. I was really inspired by the 2018 national convention to get involved, and that's when I actually built my first Facebook site, Give
Hmm.
Congress Hale 2020. And I announced on the floor there that I would be running for Congress. And my main reason for running for Congress then, and unfortunately still now, is to stop the wars. Um, we have to stop the wars. How are we ever going to achieve peace if we never even practice? So to me, that's my number one issue. My number two issue, since I've been so deeply involved, is cutting the size of government. Uh, I've been very vocal about using the Federal Sunset Act to do this. We have currently 629 federal agencies and departments that our federal government is
Hmm.
funding. So, one way to cut that number would be to use the Federal Sunset Act to do something like that. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous right now. We literally have a Peace Corps and a Peace Corps seniors. It seems to me we could just combine those and make one department if we're going to keep the Peace Corps.
Well, so for those of us out here that don't know what the Sunset Act is, what is that? I mean, this is your
Okay.
second priority, so it's got to be pretty
Yeah,
big.
it is my second priority, and I've been successful at getting co-sponsors. When I started talking about it in 2020, there were exactly zero co-sponsors, and the sponsor was actually a Republican from North Carolina.
Hmm.
The sponsor now is from Texas, and there are seven other Texas Republicans that are now on board with the Federal Sunset Act, including the incumbent I ran against last time. I literally had to hold his feet to the fire on August. The new version of the bill came out on February in February.
Hmm.
And what it does, and let me get this out of the way first so everybody knows what I'm talking about. What the Federal Sunset Act will do is it will create a commission, a tripartisan commission, one the other partisan being the civilians. So you'll have civilians, Democrats, and Republicans doing an audit, a Six Sigma, and also, if necessary, sunsetting all of the any or all of the federal agencies or departments that are currently funding.
Hmm.
Uh, as an example of how big our government is, if this commission is approved and signed on by the president, if they did one audit a week, it will take them 12 years to get through the first round.
12 years?
12 years to get through the first round, which is why in the Federal Sunset Act, there's a 12-year limitation on their, if you pass your Federal Sunset Act, let's say you got one of the agencies passes their Sunset Act. If it was up to me, none of them would. But like for instance, the Navy will never not pass, but they will be subject to the audit and the Six Sigma. But because they're constitutionally created, they would always stay. So you wouldn't really necessarily get rid of all of the agencies, and especially those that are constitutionally created. So like the Navy is constitutionally created, so that would stay. Things like that. But for instance, the DEA or the Department of Education, those would be subject to an audit in Six Sigma, and if necessary, closed if they're no longer serving the needs of our public.
Can we get rid of the IRS while we're at it?
Yeah, IRS is certainly subject to this. The only one that's not subject to this is the Federal Reserve, because they're a private organization. So we will have to pass an act to do an audit and a closing of the Federal Reserve separately. But the other 629 federal agencies would have to go through this, basically prove that you're worth your value to the American public. You'd have 3 Democrats, 3 Republicans, and 3 civilians on this board, and if they did, like I said, 1 audit per week, they would get through the whole section in 12 years. So you would have to basically pass this audit in order to get another 12-year stipend.
Well, so you said this was a tripartisan, so Republican, Democrat, and citizen.
Yeah, Republican. If obviously we had a Libertarian in
So
office, we would obviously get a Libertarian in there.
Awesome.
But right now it has it where it's Republican, Democrat, and a civilian body, chosen by the Senate leaders. So obviously they pick their friends,
Right,
to not kill the projects they want to keep. But if we had a Libertarian in there in office, then we would definitely be able to grab our seat at that table and make sure that if there's a federal agency that's no longer serving the needs of our public, that they get closed or sunsetted or audited or cut or whatever it needs to be done. There's a lot of redundancy in our government. Like I said before, we have a Peace Corps and we have a Peace Corps seniors. It seems to me we can just combine those and have 1 agency instead of 2. So there's half the
Slightly
budget.
confused on what the difference is.
well, one's for seniors.
Like,
Right.
like retired people?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Right, exactly.
got you.
But there's several instances of this kind of thing throughout our federal government. I mean, I have a list of them on my website. I actually say a list of 629 federal agencies so that people can click on it and go through it themselves and see how ridiculously big our government has become. Remember, our government was supposed to be limited, and this is definitely not limited anymore.
Right.
The sad thing is that these guys are passing regulations without legislation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's I think the DEA's
Alphabet agencies pass regulations that don't necessarily have to go through Congress, and I think that's a real big problem because they can, be bought.
Yeah, the DEA and the ATF are prime examples of that, when they can just change what the definition of a pistol bracelet or a pistol is and a long rifle is overnight, and criminalize half the country. So yeah, getting rid of those organizations sounds like a really good priority. I fully support getting rid of most, if not all of them. So
Right. So let's get started on an audit on them.
Right.
629. It'll take us 12 years to do it, but I think after we go through it once, I think you'd see at least half of those departments, and probably a lot of those, knowing that they're coming up for that, would already start cutting to show that they're providing a value. You know what I mean? Like the writing would be on the wall. If we pass the Federal Sunset Act, the writing would definitely be on the wall that each of these federal agencies would have to start looking at their budget and are they providing a real value to the American public? And I think when you get down to it, a lot of them are not creating a lot of real value for us. So
So are you running a race? Is it just a two-way race or is it a three-way race?
it is a three-way race. Mr. Day won the Republican secondary primary. They had a runoff.
Hmm.
Julie Johnson won the primary with 10 other competitors. She got 53%. So it's a very democratically gerrymandered district. My hope is to rattle up the 70% of the voting age people that are not currently voting. This district gets to vote gets 28% of the vote of the voting age people to come out and do something. So there's a big gap between what the two old parties are offering the voters and what I'm offering, and I'm hoping that I can, show them that there is a path to victory, and show them with my past history that their vote for me is actually going to be leveraged, like I did with Lance Good, and I leveraged those votes in 2020 and 2021 to force him to co-sponsor the Federal Sunset Act. So that's what I think people need to understand is that their vote isn't necessarily. Hopefully, lets me win.
Hmm.
If enough of you come out and do it, we can win. I only need 170,000 votes to win this race. So it's not unreasonable to think that I can get that many votes with so many people not voting. My goal is to establish for sure the 13% because that would be early adopters. And once we have the early adopters, it'd be real easy to get to the tipping point and where we get to determine our policy. But giving me your vote this time gives me leverage so that I can use that against the eventual winner, which I unfortunately think it will be Julie Johnson.
Hmm. So you said only 28% of the people turn out in that district.
Yeah, 28,
So
28%.
so this is a congressional district in Texas. So how many? What's the population of that district, and what's the percentage of?
790,000 people in the district. There's 593,000 are voting age people. So 593,000
Mhm.
are voting age people and about 180,000 vote.
So
So
180,000 people determine 700,000 plus.
The, yes.
So what
There you go.
are like do you not to give away any political strategy or anything like that, but like are you doing work to reach out to those apathetic voters? Most likely they're people mine and Nathan's age because millennials are apathetic towards politics typically. So
Right.
are you doing stuff to reach out to 40 and younger that are registered voters but not actually showing up?
My hope is at LP Dallas, we're going to be placing ads in papers, especially for Congressional District 32 and also House District 100 to help our House District 100.
Joe
Uh,
Roberts.
Joe Roberts, yeah, help
Mhm.
Joe Roberts, our nominee for that position. So we're going to be going after the college campuses
Mhm.
and also the White Rock Lake paper. Those are the two papers that we're going to put the Nolan test in, and then a link to both, all three places: LP Dallas, Joe Roberts, and of course my Give Congress Hale campaign. Um, so that's the plan on that front to get to the younger voters. And of course, having Chase Oliver as a candidate helps because he's going to appeal to those people.
Mhm.
Uh, I have opened up a TikTok account, so
That was my next question.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go and follow SLP Texas.
I do have a TikTok account. I'm not sure how to use it yet, so I
Amanda
think
can
what
give
I'm
you
going to
all the advice you need on it.
okay, so I'll come to you after this interview, and we'll talk about how I can use the TikTok. But I think maybe what I'm going to do is use the TikTok, share those videos, put out Facebook ads
Mhm.
to find those disgruntled voters in between the Republican and the Democrat. Let's not make no mistake. The Democrat has the advantage here. The gerrymandering favors her. We are going to have to be really aggressive and getting our issues addressed by her. My hope is that she will address the 629 federal agencies
Mhm.
at some point during this campaign and what she's going to do about it. But I can't do that until I have people educated about how big their limited government actually is.
So it sounds like that your big competition isn't really the Republican in this case; it's a Democrat.
I'm not sure. I'm not worried about him.
So,
My
so
goal is to cover the gap
mhm.
and force her to be the first Democrat to get on board with the Federal Sunset Act, recognizing that our government's too big.
So what sets you apart from your Democrat counterpart there?
I've What sets me apart is the economics. I think
Mm-hmm.
on the social issues, we're going to be pretty right
Mm-hmm.
hand in hand. I mean, she happens to be a lesbian. Great, I'm happy for her.
Mm-hmm.
She's living her best life, uh, and I want her to do that. And so I want that to continue. We were just out at Pride this weekend. We had a great time out at Pride,
Mm-hmm.
supporting the that community like we always have been since 1972.
We always got to
Uh,
rub that in their face.
I always do because they didn't get on board till 2012, you know. And I'm like, come on, guys, you didn't really recognize this group until we forced you to,
Mm-hmm.
until you saw them as a voting bloc, and then you started recognizing them. Well, we recognized them way back in 1972 when we formed our party. So I think it's great that our first presidential candidate in 1972 was gay, and our current one happens to be gay too. So
Mm-hmm.
it shows a consistency in our principles, and he's very good on the economics, and I think he's really good as a speaker. And we saw what he did in Atlanta to cause ruckus, and
Mm-hmm.
I think he has the best chance of getting the younger votes out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm going to be planning on doing. I mean, there's no way I'm going to convince the old people to vote for me because they're voting out of fear now. It's become so obvious that they really are voting out of fear. They fear one or the other two parties
Mm-hmm.
authoritarian is going to get control of this, and well, we all are, and that's why we're running too, to show that there is an option. There's going to be four people in my race. There is an independent. I forgot their names, so excuse me. Uh, but I don't see any of their signage, so I don't know how big their campaign is. Uh, but my campaign is going to be a challenge campaign. I run challenge campaigns because I use those leveraged votes to get co-sponsors on actual legislation. I have three priorities: the Federal Sunset Act, ending the AUMF, and doing a GoFundMe for government. If we're going to have to pay taxes, I would love it if every time you filled out your employment paperwork, that you got to decide which of the 629 federal agencies your tax dollars. You can split it up between any of them, all of them, or just a couple of them. I don't care, but I want to know from the American people which departments they actually support. And the best way to do that is to do a GoFundMe for government.
All of mine
Okay,
would go to national parks.
did you listen to our interview with Ryan Woodcraft today?
No, I did
So we did
not.
it last night, and Nathan and I actually talked about like earmarking your taxes if you have to take taxes to go towards certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So let's say you're conservative and you don't appreciate the work that Planned Parenthood is doing. You can make sure that your tax dollars do not go to Planned Parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
Say you're on the left and you do appreciate the work that Planned Parenthood is doing, so you can make your tax dollars go to Planned Parenthood. Now, I would prefer it that we do it privately because in 2016, I'll just remind everybody that in 2016, when Trump was first elected, Planned Parenthood got huge amount of voluntary donations because the fear was that Trump was going to end that program.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen, but it did prove a point that you will voluntarily support programs.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we do that?
Yep. Well, so you said you're running a challenge campaign, but let's say the leaf is on the wind and Kevin Hale wins. And Kevin Hale comes out on top, and you get to go represent Congressional District 32 for
I
Texas
do.
And give Congress Hale.
and give Congress Hale.
That's right.
Um, the Democrat that you're running against, is she an incumbent or is there no incumbent right now?
It's an open seat. It's
It's an
the
open seat. Okay.
vacated seat by Colin Allred.
Okay.
He wanted to run against Ted Cruz. So
All right. So let's say you win, or when you win,
when
you win,
exactly.
and you get to represent. Um, how do you plan to involve the 790,000 people in your congressional district in your decision making process?
I think Facebook, the Twitters, the congressional email accounts give us a great opportunity to do one at a time bills to our constituents and tell them, hey, here's a link to the bill. Please read it. Come back and fill out this poll. Should I vote yes or no on it? Short of that, sometimes these guys don't have time to do a poll like that. So we have
Mhm.
to be ahead of the game in
Right.
this thing because some of these bills, they don't even have time to read 5,000-page bills. And I'm going to expect my constituents to do that.
You have to read it before you have to
So,
pass it before you can read it too.
no, that's not how it's going to work for me. I promise you, if I don't have time to read it, then it's a no. From the start, if you haven't given me enough time to read it, then it is a no, no way. I'm not voting for it. Not until you give me enough time to at least read it, and if I need to, amend it. This is a problem that we have in Congress right now.
Hmm.
Is there hasn't been an amendment on a freaking bill in almost a decade from the floor. There's not been a floor amendment in almost a decade from the floor. Justin Amash was talking about this, when he was in Congress, how they don't even get to do that anymore. That's a
You're
problem. That's not representative government. When we don't get to debate to our conclusion, then the conclusion is just given to us to vote on. No, I have a problem with that. So my answer is going to be no. The bills that I do get to read, they're going to have to pass a couple of tests. Number one, are we constitutionally, authorized to do it?
Hmm.
Because a lot of what happens in Congress, they're not authorized to do it in here. There's only like 13 enumerated powers, and
Hmm.
they're not authorized to do some of these things. And also, one of the things that they're supposed to be doing is doing declarations of war, and they're not doing that, which is why I want to repeal the AUMF. We should be debating whether or not we get involved in these proxy wars or send our
Hmm.
children to the fight. And we're not doing that, and I have a problem with that, which is why I'm running.
Let private individuals decide if they want to participate,
Yeah,
but
if you want to support Ukraine, then do it on a private leave. Don't use our tax dollars to do it. If
mhm.
you want
or
to support
conscription.
Israel or Hamas, do it privately. Don't force our government tax dollars to do it. We shouldn't be funding all these wars across the. I mean, literally, I keep saying this, and I hope someday somebody will pick it up and ask the question themselves: how are we ever to achieve peace if we never even practice? Because it
Hmm.
seems like the first response we have to everything is, let's just drone bomb them. Well,
Blow
I'm
them
not
up.
happy with it. Yeah, just blow them up. And I'm like, that's not a good answer because that only creates more animosity, more hate, and more viscerosity towards America. What if we, made them economically dependent on us with free trade?
Hmm.
I'm just saying that's a far easier way to get peace than drone bombing people to submission.
Kevin, I knew you were Team Kumbaya.
Well, that's why I'm here,
aren't
trying
all
to.
aren't
Yeah, I think a lot of us are here
yeah.
for that reason because we've had enough. It's sick almost that we've come to this, and we used to be able to depend on at least the Democrats to throw up a debate about not going to war, but they don't even do that anymore.
Pretty sure
So I'm really
Democrats are
scared.
pretty
And
pro-war
I'm
right
really
now.
scared if I don't win this seat, you'll just have another fall in line Democrat that will vote yes on everything that they want them to fall in line with. And I think what we need in Congress is somebody like me that won't fall in line, whether the Republican line or Democrat line, and sometimes not even the Libertarian line.
I mean, telling libertarians to fall in line is pretty anti-libertarian to begin with, so
Facts.
Exactly. So, uh, electing me means that you'll have a real maverick in Congress that will hold all of them accountable.
hmm.
And I hope that people will see that now. I mean, this is my third time to run, and I've got some good name recognition. I got people that stop on the street to hug me and thank me for running because it gives them a choice that they didn't have before. Otherwise, they would not be voting,
Hmm.
just like the 70% in this district that are not.
Hmm.
So there is a chance for us to make a big impact, and I will leverage those votes to get us legislation that moves us to freedom.
So, do you think that your role this last legislative term as I think it was legislative coordinator has kind of helped you understand the process more and can help you
Oh
with
yeah.
this?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was an education of fire down there at the state legislature, and what I learned in the first 2 weeks, I leveraged for the rest of the term, and we got results when we needed to get the results. You know, we killed the 10% bill before it even got out of committee. We killed the doubling the filing fee bill with our. We had 25 people there to who just happened to be on one of our lad days. We had 25 people uh, testify against the doubling of the filing fee bills. They never even took it to a vote after that. So we
Was
killed
that the
that bill.
one where it was like 9:30 at night?
Well, no, that one started in the morning and it went for a long time. But luckily, our bill to it was in the Senate. But yes, there were nights I was there till 9:30, 10 o'clock, fighting the elections committee about some stupid bill they were trying
And
to.
I was watching and recording, waiting
I
for y'all to
know.
talk.
It
So
was, but I did, but it was great to get that actual on the ground experience because I know I can use that now as, confidence. When I walk into the state legislature, man, I know exactly where I'm going. I know
Hmm.
exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly who I'm going to talk to. I know exactly what I need to say to them, and I know exactly how I'm going to hold them accountable.
So
I
it
can do
sound
the same.
so it
I
sounds
can do
like
the same thing at U.S. Congress too.
so I was about to say. So it sounds like you've got the skills and the knowledge now to actually do
Oh
something in
yeah,
in U.S.
yeah.
Congress.
Yeah, and I don't mind leveraging the votes I've gotten in the past to get co-sponsors on legislation. I think that needs to be highlighted because I don't think people they see us as a wasted vote. I'm like, no, your vote will not be wasted with me. I will leverage it. I
Hmm.
will leverage it to get legislation. And if enough of you vote for me, I win. So, and there's enough not voting that we could win in a landslide. I mean, literally a landslide. It could be a landslide if those people that don't normally vote can show up and vote for me.
Hmm.
And that's going to be part of our messaging is that, hey, 70% of you are not voting. So it's not a wasted vote to give me your vote, and then go to my website. I'll show you how I leveraged it before. That's what I have to do as a third party that we have to stay focused on the issue at hand. And right now, our government's out of control spending. It's too big.
Hmm.
We can't stop the wars. It's ridiculous. And I want people to have a choice in where their tax dollars goes. Obviously, I want them to keep their dollars, but if we're going to have taxes, I want them to have a choice in where those tax dollars go because that will tell us immediately which of the 629 federal agencies they actually support.
Well, and that should be something that Democrat voters would be very in favor of, is saying, I get to
That's what I'm
choose.
going to be hammering them
You
about.
mean you want me to
That's
be
what I'm,
you want me to be allowed to choose where my tax dollars go?
yes. Yeah, I mean,
such a novel idea.
preferably I want you to keep 100% of what you earn.
Hmm.
But if we are going to be taxed, then I think you should have the decision on which of the 629 federal agencies or departments you want that money to go to.
Hmm.
Say you have a kid in the Marines, maybe this 4 years you give all your tax dollars to the Marines, but
Hmm.
you know, and then the following year he goes to Peace Corps. So you give the
Yeah.
next following 4 years you give all your money to Peace Corps because you're supporting your son in his endeavor to serve our nation.
And if enough people, and if everybody did this, the sunset stuff would just kind of sunset itself
It
because they wouldn't
happened
have
with
funding.
Yeah, I'm going after it in two ways. I'm going after it full force with the Sunset Act, but I'm also coming
Hmm.
at a pincer movement from the side and giving taxpayers a choice on who they want to give their tax dollars to. So there's two ways of attacking the problem of too big of a government, and I'm going to give both of those options to our constituents.
Awesome. I love the plan. Uh, and I would love to see you be in office as well, and spearheading this in front of the rest of Congress, saying, "Here's what we wanted.
Yeah,
Here's what we need to be doing."
yeah.
So, as far as your ground game, what are you currently doing? What do you need help with? We've got a link to your website here on the video, givecongresshale.com. I'm assuming people can go out there and donate to you.
Yes, please.
Money, I'm assuming, is always great, but what else can people do?
Uh, Go to my Facebook page because I've been shadow banned on Facebook, as you might imagine. So I need more people to come like that page and then share the content out, especially videos. Go to my videos and share those out. There's a lot of videos from LP Texas when I was at the legislature. There's a lot of videos from my first campaign in 2020. Unfortunately, all of that stuff is still true. None of that stuff is
Nothing's changed.
changed in 6 years. It's all gotten worse. I think in that first video, I think the national debt was 22 trillion, and now it's 34 trillion.
Were
And
you
that's only
walking around National with a little thing showing the national debt?
yeah, 34 trillion. It's $98,000 per second is what our government spends.
Have you seen Thomas Massey's debt tracker?
Yes, I have one.
Oh, you have one of those? Okay, those things are awesome.
Well, I love it.
It's like, I'm gonna go get it.
This thing is so awesome. Here.
I
Yeah.
just want Kevin to win so I can just yell, "Give Congress Hale" all the time.
Yeah.
think it's up there.
Oh, he's gonna run off and grab it. You know, if anybody who hasn't seen it, I've seen Thomas Massey. I think is the one who actually made it, and it keeps track of the national debt, and the number just keeps going up in correspondence, or at the
Apparently
same.
98 something $1,000 a second.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Wish I had $98 a second. I'm not even like billions or millions. Just give me $98 a second and I'll be happy.
Well, you can have that if you're running the country, if you're running up one of these 600 something federal agencies.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, right. That number's going up fast.
$98,000 per second usually.
We're at $34.5 trillion in debt. How does Congress ever intend to pay that off?
They don't. We only pay the interest, and the interest payment is $1 trillion a year now. They don't plan on paying it off. They plan on continuing the inflation, continuing to print money, and continuing to spend out of their budget, which is why you need a libertarian to hold them accountable.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to stop. I mean, if they were going to stop, they would have stopped, I don't know, a decade ago.
Well, we did have a
like
balanced
40
budget.
years.
Well, I know the U.S. Had a balanced budget once,
Is that
and
during Clinton?
no,
No?
no,
I
the
thought it was Clinton because he had the GOP House and Senate, and they forced him to have a balanced budget. It
no
was Clinton. Yeah,
we still
yeah,
had
but-
debt. We still had debt though at that point.
Oh yeah, they don't count that against the balanced budget.
No, I'm talking about there was one time that the U.S. government did not have any debt, and that was right before the Great Depression.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
That was the last
Man.
time. That was the last time that we actually had a positive in the banks.
Do you still have people alive in the United States that were around for the Great Depression?
My granny, she's 101. Yeah, she went through it.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago.
It's a long time ago. Yeah, she was very frugal. You could tell that she'd been through some rough times during that time. So she didn't talk about it much, but that was probably because it was just to cope with it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope we don't do that to ourselves again. I'm really worried about
On
Um,
that trend.
along the side of the debt. I'm also worried in 2033, 2034, our Social Security is going to be not going to have enough funds to actually make the payouts that it's owed. So we're going to have seniors not getting paid, and they're going to be losing their houses, and they're going to be forced into the streets, and there's nobody with a plan to do anything about it, even though I've had one for 6 years to get people to make this thing, extend the life of Social Security so that we can, get in 2 generations, get us off of it. but it's going to be defunct. It's not going to have the funds it needs to make the payouts in 2033, 2034.
That's fine.
So
They'll just print more money from the Federal Reserve.
that's and that's going to cause more inflation, and it's just going to spiral like we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
But that to me is the time bomb that I don't think anybody's really paying attention to, because I say 2033, that seems so far away, but it's really not that far away when you think in terms of presidential elections.
Yeah, that's two presidential
Yeah,
elections.
it's only, yeah, two and a half, and you're looking at a problem that no one can solve because it's not going to have the funds. So
Mm.
they're going to have to do something to make that solid again. And I don't know what that looks like, but it could include, selling off federal lands to private organizations. It could be us letting people that are well enough off to opt out and just get a simple payout, one-time payout. I've had a plan for 6 years to split the employments, anybody below, age 27, and anybody between 28 and 48, and anybody between 49 and retirement age would have options to get out of the Social Security system with a one-time payout, and they can use that money for their own retirement, buy an annuity, or whatever they need to do. But they've paid into this system that's not going to be able to pay them out.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to find a way to get square with the people that paid in, that can afford not to, participate, so that this thing can stay functional for those that are stuck in it. There's a lot of people stuck with Social Security being their only source of retirement funds. And if we keep pushing this can down the road and not actually addressing the problem, we're going to find a lot of our grandmothers and grandfathers sitting on the streets, or getting kicked out of their retirement homes because they can't make the payments. And
I mean, I know my grandparents,
I'm really
both of them
concerned
are.
about this. I think that we need to address what's going on with Social Security and find a way to get people to take responsibility for their own retirement, at the same time extending this for those that are stuck,
Mm-hmm.
because they were made a promise and they believe that promise. And I promise you, if you were to take the money that they've stolen from you and just invested it in just the SP 500, you would have made more money than they're going to pay you.
Can
Uh,
confirm my S&P 500 stock has 10% return, which I think
yeah,
is pretty darn good. Um,
yeah, you're not going to get that out of Social Security.
I've
I
got
promise you.
another stock that's 600% return, so I think
You're doing better than me.
I'm doing fine on
Not,
some.
Are you just
not all
following
of us are
Pelosi?
that savvy.
Are you just following Pelosi?
No, because I don't want to get arrested for insiders trading. I've seen people get arrested for insider trading because all they're doing is buying the same stocks and selling the same stocks that Nancy Pelosi's doing.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
All right, Amanda, do you have any more questions for Kevin?
I think that we got to everything beside, if somebody wants to learn more about your campaign or volunteer, how can they do that?
All right. So here's what we're doing. GiveCongressHale.com has all of that available. You can donate. You can find out about my campaign, what the goals are, what my platform is, uh, and become a volunteer all on my website. You can also go to my Facebook page, Give Congress Hale 2024. My Twitter account is at Hale Give, uh, or Give Hale. I forget. I get them confused. But get to those. You don't, to help my campaign. All you have to do is share the content. That doesn't cost you anything. We are trying to raise $5,000 before August 4th,
Mm-hmm.
which gives me 59 days to raise $5,000, which is like $84.75 a day.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in a position to donate $84 or $85.75, please make a donation today and cover today's fundraising goal. We're going to use the money for our street signage and also Facebook ads, because our Democrat was very exclusively on Facebook during the primary. So I expect that she will once again be heavy into the Facebook ads, and I need to be able to match her, at least get the eyes, let people know that there's more than just her and the Republican in the race.
Well, so
Have you
hopefully
thought
she
about
think.
doing Twitter ads?
I'm sorry. Twitter ads.
Have
I'll
you
do
thought
Twitter
about
ads.
doing Twitter ads?
Can I do TikTok ads? I don't know.
Um,
I'm sure
I
And
don't
that,
anybody.
know.
I'm sure anybody will let you do ads if you throw money at it.
I got to figure out the TikTok though, because that is where all of our younger voters are, and I think my message will resonate with them, especially if I stay on the anti-war. That we need to debate these things before doing them, not just let the president make those decisions. Uh, I think that will resonate. I think if I point out how large the government is, I think a lot of people will be surprised. Every time I mention how big it is to people in public, they go, "Wow, that big?" You know, because 629 is a huge number, and then you cap onto that. That's federal agencies and departments, so that's numbers of people that we've got employed
Hmm.
doing what kind of work for us? Who knows? So I think if
I
I
do
can get,
have a little question though.
go ahead, go ahead.
So, because this may be something that a Democrat would push back on, if you get rid of these departments, you are eliminating people's jobs. And how do you like supplement that? Like
They
putting
can
these
find
people out of
jobs.
work?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people looking for people in the private market to come to work. So they can find jobs in the private market, which is where the economy should be. The government should not be the economy. The
Hmm.
economy should be consumer driven. And if you're not providing a service to the consumers, then you're not really, you're just taking. And a lot of what government does is just take, and it doesn't really give much back. And and I think you can find that a lot in 629 federal agencies. And we're running $1 trillion deficits right now, and we're just printing money out of thin air, and we're all suffering the inflation that causes. And when are we going to stop? I think now would be a good time to stop so that our future children and grandchildren have an opportunity to get on the plus side. Because if we continue down this path, we won't have a chance to get on the plus side because the whole thing's going to collapse.
Yeah, agreed.
Great answer. Thank you.
All right. Well, Kevin, you got anything else you want to bring up before we end our session today?
Go to my website. Give
Yes.
me hits. Share the website to your friends. Talk to them
Give
about how
Congress
there's an
Hale.
option. There are options that are not Democrat and Republican. Be
Hmm.
excited about making. I mean, literally, I'll tell you this: the bravest vote I ever made was the one for Gary Johnson because it was the first vote I ever made outside of the two old parties, and I felt so liberated making that vote because it was finally my voice. Gary Johnson represented what I wanted
Hmm.
out of my federal government. And it was for once I felt like, man, I didn't have to hold my nose this time. Wouldn't it be nice not to hold your
Hmm.
nose to vote?
And now you've been
You don't have,
hooked.
yeah. Yeah, now I've been hooked. So you don't have to hold your nose when you vote for me. I will leverage your vote to get good legislation.
All right. Well, thank you, Kevin, for joining us today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Stay tuned. We've got more of these interviews to do. We've got a lot of candidates in Texas.
Let's
Uh,
get 10,000 hours of peace. How are we ever to achieve peace if we never practice? 10,000 hours of peace. Let's try that.
let's do that. All right. Well, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Amanda. Until next time.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.